the legacy of this work for me should be that a group of people were brought together who were probably very unassuming of working together and who hold different positions at the institution, have been here for different years, have different social identities. But we had a common mission in that how do we grapple with our history while also honoring and being proud that we are a Catholic Jesuit institution. And I hope that when this story is told, that they can see that there was so much difference in the room, but how powerful a common mission and values are to a cause. I also hope that they, when this story or whenever this legacy is told, that they don't see it as we dealt with something of the past, only looking at slavery as something that happened and now it's done, but also being able to honor that its legacy still very much informs our legal practice and the way we interact with each other even today, and that we took the time to grapple with both, that we recognized that there was a history that we needed to pay homage to with, the descendants and building names and a variety of other pieces that were very much historical, but that we also were able to talk about through our recommendations, how do we set up a even better future so that we're not just okay with the status quo, but that we really are striving for the mod, just that what we're doing is of depth and it's meaningful, and that hopefully it will propel us into an even more inclusive and more focused in racial justice as a university. I think there certainly was an impetus as to how we got to this pivotal moment in time. I think our context of being in Washington, D.C., we're naturally in a very politicized environment, but we're also in a city that was historically Black and African American, where the city itself has its roots situated in slavery. So I think just knowing the soil that we're on kind of bubbles with that history and very much influences our day-to-day interactions, even if we're not fully aware. I think our Jesuit values very much have a role in this, where we constantly were looking at how other institutions had responded, but we hadn't seen that happen with other Jesuit institutions. And we know that we're not the only one of the 28 to grapple with this kind of history or have it a part of our makeup. But I think there was this piece of, we have a moral obligation to respond to this. We can't sit here and infuse our students with this knowledge of, magis or cura personalis or social justice without truly doing that. Like, we know that social justice is not a theoretical concept, it's very much a practice. And then I think kind of this type of person that Georgetown attracts, where to some degree, I think we are a community where we are critical thinkers, where we won't take things at face value, that we want to know the depth and how the context, how things got to be the way that they are, and keep asking those tough questions. I think that's kind of the Hoya way, where we want to know more, we want to know the depths of it, and we want to do more once we know better. How we do that is very different based on our gifts and talents and maybe our perspectives, but I think there is this common thread of we're here. We know that we're a part of a community that is quite privileged to have the experience that we have here at the Hilltop, and that we need to do something with that. So it's almost like a perfect storm on why I think Georgetown responds to this in a particular way that other institutions may not. I very much think that student activism, civic engagement is a part of the student formation experience. For quite a bit of our students, whether they were on the working group or not, they had a lot of emotions regarding our history and its connection to slavery, and rightfully so. And not just our Black or African American students. I think we had a large collective of students who are very conscious and were, I think, disappointed would be the word that I would use to describe how they were engaging with our history. And I think the ways in which they protested or the ways in which they challenged the institution were very much how they made meaning of their experience. So They brought the group together into Red Square. They had their signs, but even the language that they used, right? Like, we need to hold ourselves accountable to our Jesuit values and our mission, and we need to be people for and with others. And to me, I think it was this beautiful moment of hearing them apply what they understand these values to be to what they believe in. They called out for everyone to be there, that this is everyone's movement. Even when it came down to when we asked students and the rest of the community to partake in our community circles or town halls or our teach-ins, there was always this eclectic group of students that were very much a part of it and asking these critical conversations. So I think back to student formation, that it's very much they were putting their actions were a product of them making meaning of the experience, and doing it in a Jesuit values context.